I'm Joe Day, and I'm at the Franklin E. Miles City Park at Camino Carlos Rey and Siringo Road here in Santa Fe. Things are pretty quiet here this time of year, but it's easy to imagine what it's like in warmer weather, with all kinds of activities going on. The park bears the name of a man I'd met briefly, Franklin E. Miles, and I wanted to know more about him, including, of course, how the park got his name. Franklin Miles is known around Santa Fe as General Miles, and I will explain why in a minute. First, a little history. He is a son of the late John E. Miles, who was governor of New Mexico for 4 years in the late 1930s and early 1940s. Governor Miles Road in the city is named after him. What about his governorship? He was a Democrat, wasn't he?
Yes, he was. He was known as Mr. Democrat. He had 37 years of elective offices. He served in everything, major office, land commissioner. He was in Congress. He was the governor. Believed every man has his dignity and should be treated with such. He also believed that you should never worry about who and what you are. Worry about what you do, and that'll determine who and what you are. So we grew up with that. My mother made sure we grew up with that.
Franklin Miles served in the Army as World War II was ending. How many years total were you in the military?
Regular Army, Guard, and Reserve, I spent 40 years. A lot of tours were involved in that time. I went to active duty every chance I got, and it helped build up my retirement from it.
What was it about the military that appealed to you?
The self-discipline. That's what I had missed as a kid, I think. I had not been taught self-discipline.
And just for the record, you retired as a Major General.
Yes, I retired as a Major General. When I came back from World War II, I started working with kids. I didn't want to see kids playing in the street. It was dangerous, and I had moved into an area which was mainly returning veterans, and so I could go to the University of New Mexico. And so I worked with those kids that were playing in the street in my spare time.
What led you to work with children? You mentioned that you didn't have a father of your own, or at least your father wasn't there much of the time.
I was in the 5th grade before I even met my father that I could remember. And my mother did a good job, but when you have 7 kids, there were 10 of us, but 3 of them died rather young. And so she kept us all in line, clean. I can't remember ever missing a meal in my life, and yet there was no income. So she was tremendous.
You were the commander of the military order of the World Wars. Can you tell me a little bit about that organization?
Well, the military order of the World Wars was formed by General Pershing after World War I. He said there wasn't enough patriotism in this country at that time. So it was our job to teach the kids of that time about patriotism and their ancestors.
Did you stay in that organization a long time?
I'm still in that organization.
So it still exists and it still works with young people?
I was the national commander in 97, 98, and I had them put more money into youth leadership. We have organizations from Boston to Tacoma, Washington.
Is it active here in Santa Fe?
Santa Fe is one of our better organizations.
And what do you do? What does it do?
Well, what we do is we work during summer, raising our own money, what have you, until summertime comes. When summertime comes, we hold youth leadership schools. We held one this last summer. It was about 44 children. Well, sophomores and juniors. We work with those kids. Under our economic system today, parents don't have time for their kids. They both have to work if they're going to make a living. So it's for us to take them off the street. We were retired, most of us, not all of us, but most of us, and we can afford to spend that time with the kids to make sure we have some good leaders coming up.
I understand that you also worked with kids in the Little League for many years, more than 30 years as I understand.
Well, I started in 1950, and I didn't quit till about 1983.
What did you feel when the city decided to name a park after you?
I was elated. I thought that was the greatest honor I could get.
Do you ever go there?
I go there often. I think it's the prettiest park in town. But it's just something that's out of this world for us, sir. Even though I am in the Hall of Fame at New Mexico Military Institute, I'm in the OCS Hall of Fame at Fort Benning, but those are minor compared to this park.
You're 89 years old.
89 years old.
And
January the 4th this year.
And yet you continue to be interested in young people. A lot of people your age are sitting in a rocking chair and watching TV or whatever. You haven't given up your...
I can't do that. I still work with kids.
For KSFR News, I'm Joe Day, around and about Santa Fe.